Very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Weekly on a Monday night. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you've all had a nice, relaxing weekend. What a weekend, hey? I mean, come on, people. 2 signings in a couple of days. I mean, what's going on? This is West Ham. We should be, biting the ends of our, our nails until the very last day of the transfer window. And it looks like we're going to get all our transfer business done very, very quickly. Summerville signed at the weekend on Saturday. Fullkrug signed today or announced today. And of course, we've got Rodriguez, which we believe will be happening tomorrow, or well, concluded tomorrow. I dare say it's already done. But you don't want to introduce 2 new players in one day, do you? You ever want to have a heart attack? And then, of course, business is not done there then, is it? Because there are still rumours abound, about the sort of other players that we're going to sign. But before I do all that, if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Please hit that like button and please become a subscriber of the channel. I keep repeating it, and I do apologize. Well, actually, do I apologize? Maybe not anymore. Do become a subscriber. It costs you nothing to subscribe to the channel, and all the content is free, always will be. So become a subscriber, hit the bell notification to let you know when I'm next on as well. Now, before I go into all the transfers, I'm going to ask you guys. I can see there's lots of comments. I'll get through those in a minute. But I did a recording earlier today with Paul Colburn of Hammers United, and I was going to sort of like put it in. I was going to embed it in this show, but it's a 40-odd minute chat. I said to Paul, "Look, it's only going to take 15 minutes, 20 minutes at most." We ended up having a really good chat, which lasted just under an hour. So I'm going to put that out as a separate show. But of course, we spoke about concessions and what Hammers United are doing with regards to concessions, etc. And what we're nearly up to 15,000 signatures for concessions for the petition. If you have yet to sign the petition, please do go to change.org. And when you get to change.org, you look at the search button and just type in oppose season ticket. That's all you got to do. Just type in oppose season ticket, and the petition will come up. And please do sign it. There's a lot of stuff going on about that. Want to try and get this over the 15,000 mark before the season starts. Well, before actually the Betway Cup, to be quite honest with you, which is on this Saturday. So if you've yet to do so, go to change.org. Type in, do search for oppose season ticket, and sign that petition. And like I said, I'll put the interview with Paul out over. Probably I'll do it tomorrow or the next day, but it will certainly go out. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk, obviously, it's all about transfers, isn't it? Because as I've said at the start of the show, it's getting quite exciting, people. It really is. Let's go into your chat and say hello to everybody. And then when I get through as many of the comments as possible, I'm going to ask you guys to put a Q before you make a comment and ask me a question about transfers. It can be anything you want. Keep it clean, but it can be anything you want about transfers. But let's say hello to people first. Stephen, you are first or something. How are you, mate? I hope you're first for something. I hope you're well. Sean, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Philip. Seeing your headlines, I've been discussing with family members who would now be on their way out. Going to get to that, but you tell me what you think. Wrong. And Sean, scene we're in for Pat Hummels. Hummels, yeah, but not. Who starts at 9:15? I did. I think I was on time tonight. Good evening to you, James. I hope you're well. James, again, I've always thought of Still as being British. Nothing else has ever crossed my mind. Thank you for that. I think James is talking about a post I put up on Facebook. It was a bit, a bit of a rant, but thank you for that, James. Much appreciated. Anthony, I hope you're well. How are you? James, again, I'd like to see Mignolet are not doing so well in the transfers. It seems that Ugarte deal is off and McTominay is staying put. Who thinks Fullkrug guy will take the top spot from Antonio? I'm going to get to that. Does Antonio now look to move on? Stop stealing my show. Shaky, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Daniela, how are you? I hope you're well. Wonderful weekend, I hope. Anthony, Brazilian club has offered 2 million for Antonio. I take it. I haven't heard that. Carispera to you, Keith. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. Very sad news. Rest in peace, Graham Thorpe. I'm not a cricket fan, but even I knew who Graham Thorpe was. Rest in peace. Lee, good evening, mate. Zouma has not a chance of passing a medical with his dodgy knees. Who says he's going to take a medical? Good evening to you, Danny. I hope you're well. I don't think Fullkrug, I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it? I'm not going to pronounce it. Fullkrug. So I don't think he sits on the bench. Maybe that is how you pronounce it. Rick, good evening, mate. Hummels is a dinosaur. Good player in his day. He's 35. He's a bit old. It's one of those, isn't it? It's one of those where you go, I know he's 35, but can he do a job for a season? It's a tough one. Usual. How are you? Antonio is a big salt when we signed Skamaka. Will history repeat itself? Good evening to you, Ralph. How are you, mate? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening to you, Mark. X ruled out Hummels earlier. I don't think we will see him, but I do think we'll get 2 new centre-backs and Zouma will be given a free mutual termination. Epic. How are you? I hope you're well. Hummels is 35, but if it's a swap for Zouma, I take it. Yeah, there you go, you see. Let's say hello to people I haven't said hello to yet. CC, I love West Ham. Thank you very much, CC. And I love you being on. Really much appreciated. I hope you're doing well. Shaky. I give Mavropanos a little more time. I still think there's a good player there somewhere. Where the fuck is he? Can he please turn up? Good evening to you, Steve. I hope you're well. Good evening, Graham. How are you, mate, from Alberta? Mike, look, you're all wrong. I was on time. On time. Well, according to my watch, I was. Maybe it's going slow. Paul, good evening to you. Hummels is not the answer. No name. If Kilman is nailed on a starter, left centre-back, would a Gerd be okay playing on the right? I hope so, but I don't think he's demonstrated that he would be, unfortunately. Danny, we don't need 2 left-footed centre-backs. If a Gerd was staying, I wouldn't have signed Kilman. But ironically, he has actually, for Morocco, he's played quite extensively as a right side, left-footed right centre-back. So I get the logic because he's done it before. Matt, good evening to you. Hummels isn't quick enough, in my opinion. That could be a good point. You know, the Premier League is fast, and would he be able to play a Lopetegui style high press? That's the interesting one. If we bring Mavropanos, a Gerd and Zouma and got 2 new faces in, can we also use Alvarez as centre back as cover if we're desperate? We could indeed. Very good point. Obsidian, good evening to you. Any truth in the rumour that Best Kebabs have put in a bid? I think the Black Cats have put in a bid for Zouma. Think about it. Who else have we got here? Let's scroll down. Mick Masters, good evening to you. I hope you're well, mate. Thank you for joining. And good evening to you, Early Doors. Good evening and all to the chat. Mr. Rolf, how are you, mate? See you Saturday, hopefully. I hope the little girl's okay, mate. I really do. I know we chatted the other day, and all the best to her. Good evening to you, Bill. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Good evening, Mr. Niven. How are you? Like the video? Yes, please. Do like the video. Do become a subscriber. Costs you nothing. Doesn't hurt to press that subscribe button. You know, you don't have to watch every show. I'd rather you did. But you don't have to watch every show if you're a subscriber. But it'll remind you that I'm on. You know, I mean, what more could you want? So do subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything. And all the content's free. Did I say that before? Good evening to you, Bronson. How are you? I hope you're well. Garino, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Finn. How are you? How many goals is the German Hugo going to get this season? Should we take a bet now that he's going to become our first 20-goal a season, league goals season player, finally? When was the last time we had that? Cynical, good evening to you. I hope we're well. We've got Summerville. Why do we need Guilherme? Back up, mate. Back up. You've got to think for now and think ahead as well. I get it. You know, and I know a lot of people have been saying, it's a really good point, actually. I know a lot of people have been saying, well, why did we have to spend 20-odd million pounds on a, 18-year-old, you know, a prospect, etc. But I get it. Think about who he's going to be working around. All the players that we got, Bowen and Kudus and all the others, and even Summerville. He can learn. He'll be like a sponge. You can learn from them because we do know, don't we? that this time next summer, we're going to be crying in our milk because we're going to have sold, I don't know, Paqueta or Kudus or someone else. We know it, don't we? We know it, and then why not let Guilherme learn, and then fingers crossed he learns enough so he can just walk straight into the team next season. I get it. I also get the point of why did we spend that sort of money? But, got to think ahead. Early doors, Stell's on. I am. Thank you all so much. It's very, very close, and I really do appreciate that. I really do. Peter, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Guilherme won't get much game time. Who knows? You don't know what. I was going to say Pellegrini for a minute because I've been fucking reading about him. How unhappy he was to have come to West Ham. I mean, we should have just left him in China, shouldn't we? I mean, talk about ungrateful. We don't know what Lopetegui's going to do. We know Lopetegui loves, he uses his squad extensively. So you might see Guilherme getting a game or, a few games or two. Certainly won't be much of a regular starter unless he smashes it. Who knows? What was that Nicker waiting about? Andrew? Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Bronson. I can't believe how few have signed the petition. It's shameful. Look, as when I play the video, when I do put it up, Paul said it's close season, not a lot of fans. It takes you guys also to tell your fellow West Ham fans about the petition, because close season, a lot of fans switch off. They go, I don't want to hear about transfers. I don't want to hear anything about the club until the new season starts. So do tell people about it, because things are going to go on into the new season as well. Jamie, we can spend a lot of money because the financial rules are every 3 years. We can spend a lot of money until we spend a lot of money until we sell a big player, which will probably be soon. It won't be now, but it may be next summer. Absolutely. James, good evening to you. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you for joining. Kim Joe, good evening to you. Now let's get a right back in and the centre back. Absolutely. L&D, good evening to you. We, the fans, have to be patient now. The club have splashed out on players, plus others who leave. Just let Hoolan's team integrate in. It won't happen overnight. It certainly won't happen overnight. That is very true. Question. Thank you, Anthony. Is one Bisseck deal happening? Yes. I'll get to it, though, and I'll give you a bit more detail in a moment. Toha. And evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Who else we got? Good evening to you, Cockney boy. How are you? Thank you for watching. Really much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy it as well. Peter, question. Can you buy Bazooka Joe bubblegum with transfers anywhere? Who remembers Bazooka Joe bubblegum? That big, thick chewing gum that you chewed, and after about 10 minutes, it lost all its taste. But what did you used to get inside the wrapper? You used to get, what was it? Yeah, whatever it was. Anyway, Big Sai, good evening to you. I hope you're well. Need to get rid of Zouma, Soufal, Socek, Cornet, and Ings. We're not going to get rid of all of them. Question. Oh, this works. Reports at Newcastle. If Gordon leaves for Liverpool, then they're coming in for Bowen or Kudus. Would money talk on this one? Absolutely not, mate. No, Lopetegui is. We are not. Don't forget what Steidten'S said in the first interview that him and Lopetegui did. We do not have to sell to buy. Now we will sell, but the players that we no longer want to have in the squad. But when it comes to the likes of Kudus or Bowen, no way. And Newcastle, no, forget about it. Why would they go there? To be honest with you. I don't think anything like that is going to happen this summer. Let's worry about it next summer, but I don't believe we're going to lose any of our big players this summer. Big side, need to get rid of Ward-Prowse, Socek, Soufal, Zouma, and Ings. James, good evening to you, mate. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. I feel a bit embarrassed now, but thank you. Question, Jamie, does this rash look normal still? I don't know. You better go have a chat with your GP or go to your local pharmacy. Carino, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Mr. Williams, how are you? I hope you're well. Good to see you. How's the finger? Paul cut his finger off. Well, not quite. Well, no, yeah, you did, didn't you? I hope you're all right, mate. Seriously. William, I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Big Side, not impressed with any of our defenders. Our business is not done yet. We absolutely do need more defenders. Mr. Gilby, how are you? I'm very well. So are all these new signings, who do you think will miss out? Do we keep Zouma as a cut and squad player? And the Gerd situation seems to have gone quiet. I don't think many will miss out. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Lopetegui likes using his squad. I think the squad players, whichever ones they're going to be, are going to get utilised in cup competitions. Do I think Zouma will be kept as a squad player? No, I don't. Will a Gerd stay? I'm not sure. And yes, at least we give our youngsters contracts. Lewis Orford, as I said last week, he's apparently been, I don't know if it's been signed yet, but apparently he's been given a 5-year, on the table is a 5-year deal. Peter, what diet did you go on? I went on the, what's it called? I've forgotten what it's called. When I remember it, I'll come back to you. I did go on a diet, actually. Not drinking beer is one diet. For the close season, or certainly not drinking copious amounts of it. My clock says you start at 10:15, but I'm early. Good evening, Hammerette. I hope you're well. Andrew, Fenerbahce in for Souček, Galatasaray in for Soufal. That's an old story, unless it's been has come up again for Soufal. But I have read the one about Fenerbahce. Let's see. Black Country, how are you? I hope you're well. Bloody Elstow, you're on time. There you go, mate. Good evening to you, Nick. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Let's get some other people in that I haven't said hello to. Ian, why don't we go in for Matty Cash from Villa? That's a really good shout. I don't know why we don't go in for Matty Cash from Villa. That's a really good shout. Yeah. Look into that. Paul, question. Do you think we have the full 25-member squad? Not yet. We don't. And also, do you think we'll get average age down? Probably not. Because a lot of people are complaining that we're buying a 31-year-old Fullkrug. Rodriguez, who will be announced tomorrow, is 30 years old. So I don't think it's actually brought the average age. I think it might have brought it down a little bit. But I think the average age is now down to something like 26, 27. I could be wrong. Someone probably knows. Freshfielder will probably know and tell me I'm wrong. But it hasn't come down too much because people are worried about, hang on a minute, we've got Guilherme and we've got Summerville, and then we've gone and bought Fotheringham, free, who's 32. And then, like I said, Rodriguez 30, and then Fullkrug 31. So people are a little bit upset about but I can see the logic, bringing in proper experience. Let's put it this way. So long as they're not crocs at that age, I don't mind. Of course, we all want to buy the 23, 24, 25-year-olds. But how will that balance the team out in terms of experience? Dave, good evening to you, mates. I'm very well, and I hope you are too. Matt, I call Fullkrug the German Harry Kane. I can dream. Well, he didn't do that well over there, did he, Harry Kane? So let's get the proper Fullkrug, shall we? And not the Kane version. Fullkrug will get 14 goals and 12 assists. Well, he's an assist merchant as well. He really, really is. Good evening to you, Mike. How are you? I get Al Pacino vibes from Coach and his mannerisms and quick temper. I can Michael Corleone, Tony Montana. Can we start calling him J-Lo Pacino? Thank you for the donation as well. J-Lo Pacino. I quite like that, actually. Thank you, mate. Thanks for the donation. Let's scroll down so I can... question. Name the 5 players you think should be made surplus to requirements. Coming to that, Andrew. So bear with me, mate. Dave. Wouldn't mind O'Reilly from the team that wears the green and white in Glasgow, but where would he fit in? Got quite a lot of midfielders coming in, haven't we? Garino, unlike Moyes saying he was the manager and still does not know what the West Ham way was. Yes, David, we saw the football. That's a shame. He shouldn't have done that, should he? That was his Allardyce moment, wasn't it? Shouldn't have done it. Early doors. Question. Do you think Lopetegui will utilise the academy players this season? I think 1 or 2. I think a few of us are going to get disappointed that he won't use them extensively, but I think 1 or 2. I think Freddie Potts and George Earthy, I'm not going to say nailed on to be part of the squad, but I think they will be part of the regular squad. Of course, we don't have to name them in the 25-man squad because they're under 21. But I think Potts and Earthy are going to be there or thereabouts. Do I think any of the others will? Not really, to be quite honest with you. I can see quite a few players going out on loan. For example, Lewis Orford, I reckon he'll go out on loan. Gideon Kodua, I think he'll go out on loan. Herrick, the goalkeeper who played in the behind closed doors game against Crystal Palace over in America before the main game was played. I think there's a lot of interest in him. So I can see quite a few of our youngsters going out on loan. Let's hope we can get the right loan deals for them so that they can actually get a lot of game time, a bit like Potts got. Wycombe Wanderers, when he was at Wycombe Wanderers, I think he was voted their player of the year when he was at Wycombe Wanderers, and he had a superb season out on loan. All right, that was League One, but at least he got game time. So knows the answer, mate. I think there's going to be quite a few, real prospects that are going to go on loan. But George Earthy, if he stays, and Freddie Potts, if he doesn't go on loan again, I can see those two potentially being part of the regular squad. Will they get a lot of game time? I don't know. We've got a big squad, massive squad. My God, what's going on? It's West Ham. What's happened to down to the bare bones and only using the same 13, 14 players? Montana, good evening to you, mate. I heard we're in the market for 2 more centre-backs. I am happy with that. I haven't heard 2. I've definitely heard 1. Cockney, I think Duran will arrive, but on loan to start. Might be. Anthony, Creswell has been captain in pre-season. Is that telling us something? It's just telling us that he hasn't decided, because Creswell won't start regular. I can't see it. I'll be very, very surprised. I could be wrong, but I can't see it. And I think the armband will be handed over to someone else. Who would it be? People are talking about Alvarez. People are talking about maybe Kilman as being captains, or maybe we just haven't bought the captain just yet. Philip, honestly, in your opinion, how many will now be offloaded and how many more will come in? Bear with me. Let me just get through a few more comments and then we'll talk about that. Montana, heard Wan-Bissaka isn't much fuss to join. Let us move on for Teze from PSV and Bade from Seville. Good shouts. Hammerett, our defence needs sorting out as soon as possible. Happy with the signing so far. Manx have now flown Maz over, so that looks like they have somewhere sorted for AWB. Someone sorted for AWB. You know what? It is a good point, because it's not so much that we did need a striker, of course. We can't just keep relying on Kudus and Bowen to do the deal up front. But it's defence that we suffered in last season. If we just, how many did we concede? 74 goals? If we had conceded even 20 goals less or something like that, we would have been much higher up the league, wouldn't we? And it is absolutely correct. And Danny says the same thing. Defence that needs major surgery. Otherwise, we are in the deep poo. Absolutely correct. Peter, do you think Saudis will come in for Bambi? Who's Bambi? Which one's Bambi? Oh, you mean Zouma? I don't even think, with the greatest of respect, I don't even think they will. Oh, I feel sorry for him, but he's fucked. He's like a clapped out car. The clapped out car that you can try and put another engine in, but it's just not going to happen, is it? Because all the joints have gone. Daniela, Liverpool have now money. I heard they pulled off the Gehi race, and they've no money because he's gone for 60 mil. What about Joe Gomez? Trodge, I remember ice cream combo with bubblegum at bottom screwballs. I remember that as well, Trodge. I remember that as well. Yep. When you sort of bit into that that screwball at the bottom, almost took your fucking teeth out. Andy, a little comic strip in the Bazooka Joe, a little comic strip. Nick, thank you so much. Really, I think I heard you fart. I definitely didn't fart, but if that's what you're going to give me money for, I'll fart all night if that's what you want. Mr. Gilby, I just hope we don't become a selling club like in the past. Look, we're going to have to get used to it, to be quite honest with you people. We are going to sell players moving forward. That's why when the question was asked about why did we get Guilherme, I get it. Summerville, Guilherme, young players, sort of continuing to learn the trade. 1 season in the Premier League, whether they play regularly or not. I think Summerville will play regularly. Guilherme, I'm not so sure, but I think he will get game time. So when it comes to selling some of our big players, we won't feel the hurt so much. We're going to have to get used to that, to be honest. Montana, I don't want it. I'm not saying I'm not advocating it, but might get used to it. Still, if they pay 150 million for Bowen or Kudus, I would sell. Oh, I get what you're saying, but will we have? Well, if they're going to do it, if they're going to do that, if we're going to accept that, then we're going to have at least a couple of players lined up to replace them. I hope not. I don't want either to go, but I get what you're saying, Andrew. If Liverpool offered 100 mil, I think Sullivan will find it hard to resist. I keep being told it ain't going to happen this summer. Next summer maybe, but not this summer. But good points. If they throw big money, what then? Do you think we will get Duran? Big Sigh? Possibly. KW, how are you, mate? KP, sorry. Good evening to you. Good evening. Thank you for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Roly, good evening to you. Good day or two for signings, but let's get a defender or seven. We need a few. We do need a few defenders in. Peter, I think we'll be screwed over as usual if we sell players. Rice being the exception. We've got to have imminent replacements, and the problem is what players will we get in if why is that light gone out? What players will we get in if that want to play at that level? Because they'll want to play European football, which we can't offer. Excuse me one second. Sorry about that. The lights are going out. I don't know why. So that's my concern. If we do end up selling the likes of Bowen or Kudus, will we get a player in that's of equivalent level if we can't offer in European football? That's why I don't think we're going to sell a big player this summer. Let's scroll down and get a few more comments in. Andrew, which kids will break into the first team? I'm going for Potts and Earthy. Agree with you there. Good evening to you, Bernie. I hope you're well. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Good, Daniel, good evening to you. All I want right now is 2 centre-backs. What would your next 2 signings be? I agree. And I'm going to come on to players in a moment. If I can get down, not far off. So if I can get down to the bottom of this, then I'll start telling you, updating you about the various rumours that are abound. Apparently, we're in for Celtic player, loads of goals and assists. Big Sigh, yeah, that was mentioned earlier, but I just can't see. Unless at the moment, no. But let's see. Good evening to you, Peter. I hope you're well. William, good evening to you. 26 what, mate? What was the 26 for? I'm sure it was related to something. Rhonda and Tony. Oh, average age 26. Thank you so much. Tony, if we can see 3 goals again this weekend, can you see a couple of defensive panic buys? No, I don't think there'll be panic buys. I think we know who we want. I know we wanted Todibo, but he wanted Juventus. So no, I don't think there'll be panic buys. That'll be the worst thing that can happen. Let's not forget, we've still got the whole of August. I don't know why that light went off. That's really pissed me off. We've still got the whole of August to go, so I don't think there'll be panic buys. Hammerette, no chance of Loppy getting his ideal team in first window. Think some are expecting too much and getting stressed about it all. It won't all happen. And that's why I think we've got a few what I would call stopgaps coming in. Like, for example, Rodriguez, coming in. Even Fullkrug coming in, because you're absolutely right. We'll build on this next summer as well, but they would do an immediate job as well. Charles, is Duran deal off? Not totally. Mercedes, did anyone see Moyes on the podcast with SJ? He made many provocative comments. He did indeed, and it was a shame. Shouldn't have done it. Stephen, what's my favourite crisp? I'm not eating crisp, part of the diet. So no more crisps for me. I haven't eaten a bag of crisps for about 2 months. Black Country. Still, what about this rumor about the women from Newcastle? Sorry, can't. Yes, I can't remember her name. Starts with an S, and apparently she's looking at potentially investing in West Ham United. Makes a lot of sense. We're looking for another investor. Is it Staveley or something like that, her name? And yes, apparently that rumor is knocking around at the moment. Have you bought your Claret and Blues lederhosen yet? Not just yet. They haven't got my size now that I've lost all this weight. Crawley Eagle. As a Palace fan, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Much appreciated. Always welcome fans from other channels, other clubs, sorry. I feel envious at your business. I think you'll push for top 7 this season. Mate, don't feel envious. You've got a very, very good team, and you've got a very, very good coach, to be quite honest with you. And I think you're going to surprise a lot of fans this season yourselves. I think you're doing all right. And I get it. It's always nice to buy new players and freshen up the squad, etc. But you can't be upset with what you've got. I quite like one or two of your players, to be honest with you, Crawley. But welcome. You're very welcome. Montana. Rumour has it that she is very hands-on. Staveley, and I highly doubt Levy will let her do that. I see Sullivan more. So what? Who said she's going to? She's going to go in Spurs. I think she's coming to West Ham. Staveley, to be honest with you, could be wrong. Question: do you think we will be fitter this season without Europe? Absolutely no. I mean, we haven't got that lovely distraction. And also we'll set ourselves up at the end of this season, come in for Europe next season. Sharky, can we see that hostage style video you were in from when you were on the West Ham network? I can't find it. Well, actually, I have got it, but no, you can't see it. Andrew, where do you honestly think we'll finish in the league at this moment in time? I'm going for. I don't know. I'm too early to call because if we're looking at the way we played in pre-season, some may say we might finish 15th or 16th. Too early. It's difficult. Ask me again 1 month into the new season. Arch, Mike, if we don't get Wan-Bissaka, do you reckon we could sell Ward-Prowse back to Southampton as a bargaining chip for Walker-Peters? I don't know what's happened. I've got to be honest. I don't know. I really thought we were going to get Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse over for Walker-Peters? Yeah. Why not? Do I think it could happen? I think it possibly could. Bowen for captain for you, Matthew. Good shout. I know a lot of people would like him to be captain. That's a good shout. Bronson, do you think that telling us Alvarez is injured because they're trying to sell him? Do you think they're telling us Alvarez is injured because no, he's really injured, mate. He actually is injured, and he probably won't be back for another month or two. So he may not start for us in the opening game or the opening few games. Trodge, can't stand your soft drinks with sweeteners in, so count me out of 99.9% of them. Montana, not drinking soft drinks either. Yeah, fucking I'm craving for sugar. But anyway, I also see if Amanda comes in, Amanda Staveley, that's her name, and Lop struggle. If Newcastle gets rid of Eddie, however, he will join us as soon as possible. Good shout. Interesting shout. Unless they obviously go for him as England manager. Good evening, West Ham Massive. Good evening to you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining, West Ham Massive. I hope you're all well over there. What else have we got here? Hammer it. The trouble I see is that every one of our defenders are not going to get any better. They are at their best, and their best wasn't good enough last season. Even with Harry saving our asses plenty of times. Absolutely true. DeCanio, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Still, any truth in reports that Shedman has broken the strike and bought the new home shirt from Brady's shop? He was on earlier. I don't know if he's still on. Nigel, have you actually broken the strike and bought a shirt from West Ham? Kansas, good evening to you. Kansas Storms, good evening to you. Anyone remember Moondust came in a sachet? What's going on with you lot with all these drinks and soft drinks and old sweets, etc.? Let's scroll down. Good evening to you, Ryan. I hope you're well. Looking forward to the start of the season. Not often I get excited, but we are on the right track, in my opinion. Absolutely. Good evening to you, Dexter. Evening. Hope you're well. I'm very well. Hope you are too. One of the best few days being a hammer transfer wise. Absolutely. It's all got to come together now, isn't it? That's the bit that we need to make sure happens. Black Country. I'm feeling it being moving house. My legs have gone. Feeling it being moving house. Your legs have gone. I love the way you lot chat and completely ignore that I'm actually doing a show now, but go ahead. AE West, good evening to you, mate. This is a squad overhaul now. Patience is going to be required. Enjoy the journey. Don't spit the dummies out. If we're bottom half by Christmas, it's going to take time to gel. Good shout. Good shout. Put another 50p. I don't know what's happened. It's on now. It's come on now. Maybe it's too warm in here. That might be it. I've got a lot of lights on, but it's come back on. Weird. Or maybe the other half has put 50p in the meter. By the way, as I said earlier in the show, if you're new to the channel, I've got 457 watching. If you're new to the channel, please do become a subscriber. Costs you nothing to subscribe. All my content is free, and there's a bell notification to let you know when I'm doing the next show. If you have yet to hit the like button, please do so. Hit that like button. The moderators can tell you to do that. Did the cats do that? I don't know. Peter, I think Loppy is someone who rips into players, unlike Taggart, who just hands. bag of Werther's Taggart. The West Ham massive. Do you think if Man United or Wan-Bissaka keep playing hardball, we will approach Saints for KWP? It was asked earlier. I'd like to go. Honestly, I would actually like to go in for Ward-Prowse. I've been led to believe that Wan-Bissaka is a better defender. You tell me, what do you think? Which one do you prefer, Wan-Bissaka or Ward-Prowse? I would have played not Ward-Prowse, Wan-Bissaka or Walker-Peters. I would have paid about 17, 18 million for Walker-Peters, to be quite honest with you. I would have just done a straight swap deal for Flynn Downs. Dexter, exciting season coming up. I predict us to score lots of goals, but defence is an area for improvement. Would Dinos and Kilman be your starting pair in the back at the season? At this moment in time, they would be, absolutely. But I am a bit worried about Mavropanos. He hasn't really shaken off some of the errors that he kind of did last season. So I'm a bit worried. Montana. Moyes is so obsessed with us, it reeks of desperation. The dinosaur would never come back to us, even if we get relegated. I wouldn't go back in for him. We'd go a completely different direction, but we're not going to get anywhere near relegation. Andrew, Palace manager looks like the real deal. Think Palace may struggle to keep hold of him, especially if Howe leaves Newcastle for England. Good, interesting shout. Let's scroll down. Good evening to you, Vinay. A crap preseason is a good omen. Let's not forget, what was his name? Avram Grant. When he took over West Ham United, we won every preseason game. What happened then? Exactly. Oi, old man, I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Stu. Stel, why don't you get a sponsor from One Football? We'll do wonders for your channel. I have got a sponsor, but it's not One Football. I don't want to chase them. They got to chase me. Otherwise, I look like I'm begging. It's a good shout, though, Stu. No, fair play. But if people know, people keep talking about when I was on a different channel and I recorded an advert for One Football. It was a bit shit, and that's being polite to myself. But I have got a sponsor. I'll announce that sponsor very soon. Richard, do you think Loppy will press for a trophy in the form of a cup win or concentrate more on Euro qualification? I think both. Why not, Richard? Because we don't have, as someone just said, we don't have the distraction of European football next season. We can go for anything that we're in, and every manager or every head coach should try and win everything available to them. Because, of course, winning a trophy will get us into Europe. So if we don't do it through the through the league, then if we win a trophy, I would like a domestic trophy. I really, really would. So I think you'll go for both, mate. Montana, I hope Amanda comes in. She secures us a new jersey manufacturer, maybe Nike, and get new seating for the bowl. Interesting, yeah. I'm going to look a bit more into that. So I'll let you know what I find out. Ronnie, how are you, mate? Thank you for joining me last week. And by the way, I interviewed Paul earlier on. He sends his regards. Well, he doesn't. He said you're... No, not really. Mr. Colburn sends his regards, mate. It might take around 6 competitive matches or more for Loppy to get his ideas over. That is a good point. That is a really good point. No, you haven't bought a shirt. See, he hasn't bought a shirt and he's still watching. What? I thought you were recording tonight. Didn't you record more than just a podcast tonight? Just a little bit loud. I'm shouting. I'll tell you what I'll do. I've turned it down and I won't shout. I'm excited. You know what I'm like. And then, come the 2-hour mark, I'm fucking wilting. Garino, screw concessions for OAPs. Just need to get them some of these retro suites, 70 suites, and they will be happy. Debbie and Mark, good evening to you. Score predictions for West Ham versus Villa. I'd rather not at the moment, mate. I really would rather not. Because at the moment, mind you, Villa have not done well in their pre-season friendlies. Didn't they get smashed 4-1 themselves? So I don't know. Paul, is that better? I'm not shouting anymore. I do apologise for that. Good evening, Stel. Things are looking good. Just need to offload a few players. Why don't I do... Right, one more question and I'm going to go into some of the news bits. West Ham massive. Do you think the fact that we don't leave London for several matches in the Premier League season is an advantage or disadvantage? Either way, why please? Right, I think it is an advantage not having to play away from London for the first few games, but the disadvantage is that we're going to get a whole load of away games crammed in, and then that could scupper it a little bit. So yes, I do think it's an advantage, absolutely. But we've got to make the most of that advantage, because if we don't, then when it comes to playing all these away games, we might be a little bit screwed. Right. Tell you what we'll do. Let's go into the first bit of news. I want to defend. So in my opinion, I'd rather Wan-Bissaka over KWP. Right. Let's get on to that. So the rumours update, because they are rumours update as it stands. Now, we know, actually, no. Let's go back. Let me tell you who we've got, because these aren't rumours. Crysencio Summerville, as we know, signed on Saturday, £25 million deal with 5 million add-ons. And if he makes his international debut and plays international games for the Netherlands, it'll be up to another £4 million. So it's a total of £34 million. Now, I do not know whether internationals would include him playing friendlies, or would it have to be competitive games for the Netherlands. Either way you look at it, this is a fantastic deal for a fantastic young player. Now, I know there's all this stuff about, trying to hide his release clause, from the public and all that sort of stuff. Believe you me, someone put out something that apparently we bought him for £10 million. We did not. Versatile winger, as we know, he had played for Leeds on the right side of attack under Bielsa. But then when the new head coach, Fark, came in last season, he was moved over to the left-hand side, which was superb for the player, because he scored in that season, the 23-24 season, in all competitions, 49 games, 21 goals, 10 assists. He was named Championship Player of the Season. A superb signing. Great technical ability, tricky player with great pace. He's got a lot of pace. Doesn't shirk. Also, what we're going to love about the players that we're signing at the moment is not only are they good going forward, this player will take his fair share of defensive duties as well. Absolutely delighted with that. And of course, we heard today that Nicclas Fullkrug has become a West Ham player. Signed on a 4-year deal. Bit longer than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be 3 years. Now, everyone's quibbling over how much have we paid. My understanding is it's around about £27 million in total, which is about 25 million euros and 6 million add-ons. 4-year contract. He is your traditional number 9, but not in the sense of a little bit boring, etc. He gets involved. Great awareness, positioning, clinical finisher, aerial dominance, good hold-up player, excellent work rate, another player that puts in the shift. And he could become our first player for a long time to score 20 goals in the league. What would that do? That will put us in Europe, people. Now, we know Guido Rodriguez, he's done. It's all done and dusted, but I don't think they wanted to announce 2 players on the same day. As we know, he's a free transfer, 30 years of age. My understanding is he'll be given a 2-year deal. And now, having given Fullkrug 4 years, maybe this will be a 3-year deal. Let's see. We moved after he was meant to move to Barcelona. It was all set up, but it didn't happen. He was meant to move to Barcelona, but we came in and we've signed him up. Free transfer, 2-year contract. Medical happened over the weekend. Argentine international, World Cup winner. What more could you ask for? We have got a really good squad being built up. The details of the player. Strong in tackling and interceptions. Strong in tacking. I missed out the L. Great positional play and reading of the game. Great physical strength. That's what you'd expect from a South American. Excellent technical and passing ability. Very high work rate. Very high stamina. Aggression tends to lead to a few too many yellow cards. And I think this is why we brought him in, because we've got someone else that does that as well, don't we? Mr. Alvarez. So I think they're going to be taking it in turns to get suspended, one in, one out. But again, great signing, should be announced on Tuesday. Okay, now that means we've got as it stands at the moment. This is what our squad looks like as it stands at this moment. So I think Wan-Bissaka will happen. He's got to stop pussyfooting around, or Man United have, or both of them have. And I think he'll come in. I think we will get another centre back, probably replacing Mavropanos in the starting lineup. Not, it's not like that we're going to get rid of Mavropanos, or not that I believe. Kilman will be the starter. Emerson on the left side. I know Lopetegui has changed it. Could be a 3 at the back. And then maybe, I don't know what we'll get then. If it's 3 at the back, it will be who? Mavropanos, Kilman, and someone else, with Emerson moving down a bit. I don't know. Or Emerson staying out on the left as a centre. Has he ever played as a centre back? I'm not sure. He has. And then you got Paqueta in the middle with Alvarez. You've got Kudus, who I think is going to play a central role. Summerville on one side, Bowen on the other side, and Fullkrug in the middle. And then you look at your, the subs bench. We've got goalies covered. Creswell, all right. He'll be makeshift. I'm not sure he'll get that much game time. Soufal, I know people are saying that Soufal should go as well, but I think he'll be a backup. Zouma, I'll get onto in a minute. Gerd, I'll get onto in a minute. Of course, we've got Rodriguez there. And then, of course, we've got Irving. Will he stay? Possibly as a backup. And then there's question marks over Ward-Prowse and Soucek. Cornet, who knows what will happen? He played behind the closed door games. The game that we played against Crystal Palace before the main game over in America, and he scored a goal. So I don't know yet. Danny Ings, well, we know we tried to move him on, but he doesn't want to go. Guilherme and Antonio, who I'm going to speak about in a minute as well. So players, Wan-Bissaka. Now, Man United apparently now are demanding an £18 million fee when it was meant to be anything as low as £10 million. The player has apparently agreed terms on a 5-year deal with West Ham United, but he wants a golden handshake. He wants a payoff. And as I've said in previous shows, the issue with this is this. He was going to stay at Man United, and he was going to look to go on a free transfer at the end of the coming season. And then, of course, by going on a free transfer, you get a big signing on fee with a new club. But now this is because they want to move him on. This isn't going to happen. And Wan-Bissaka, therefore, wants a little sweetener. Talking about sweets, wants a little sweetener in order to leave. Now, we were going to sign him. The understanding last week was we were going to sign him between 10 to 15 million pounds. Something like, 12 million plus add-ons, etc., to bring it to 15. I wonder now, the reason why Man United now want a bit more is to give that to the player as that golden handshake. That's what I think is happening here. Man United certainly don't want to lose out on this. If they're going to sell him for 12 to 15 million pounds, then the last thing they want is to hand him over 3 million to the player as a golden handshake. And I think this is what Man United are trying to do. They want to up the price so then they can pass that additional off. Now, how long do we wait for this player? When do we draw the line and say, sod it? We absolutely need to bring players in quicker, sooner rather than later. I'm going to give this another week. If we don't sign Wan-Bissaka by the end of this week, I'm going to suspect that we're going to start moving on and looking for other targets. Mats Hummels, apparently it's been poo-pooed today. I don't know. I'm being told 2 different things. He's a free agent, left Dortmund at the end of the season. Same team that, of course, that Fullkrug plays for. Vast experience, both domestic and international stage. World Cup winner, Bundesliga titles, Champions League finalist. Superb defender in his day. Ball playing centre-back, great leadership qualities. Look, when we compare him to, unfortunately, Kurt Zouma, who are you going to take? But it wouldn't be just either or, would it? So I'm going to take this, to be honest with you, with a pinch of salt. I think it's a novel idea. I get it for his experience, but I'm not so sure this is really nailed on, to be quite honest with you. Jan Bisseck, Inter Milan, contract till 2028, valued at around 25 million euros, 23 years of age. 6 foot tall, towering central defender. He's grown in his role. He didn't start for Inter Milan, but he finished off strong for the club last season. It's not Greta, should say great. I do apologize. I do these things in a rush. Great on one-on-one situations, uses his strength well to shield the ball, calm and composed under pressure, can play as right back as well as in the central defense role, and good ball distributor. Now, I'm told that there's no chance that we're going to get him. But I don't know. The player that I said we wanted, I mean, let me just go over some of the players that we wanted. We wanted Stebo. He wants to join Juventus. Apparently, we're interested in Umar Soleh from Salzburg. And he was taken away from training. A few of the Salzburg players were allowed to sort of go off away from training because their minds were elsewhere. And who was it? I think it was the director of football or the head coach. I can't remember. Talking about Soleh and saying, we've given him time off so he can sort out his future. Could be. Now, Soleh, I talked about Soleh some time ago, and I wasn't that impressed with his the details that I was looking at with the scout reporting, etc. Same goes for that player. I think his name is Da Costa, something like that, or La Costa or something. Again, a player that I'm looking at and I'm thinking probably no better from Toulouse. Probably no better than the team, than the players than we've currently got. So I'm not so sure that we're going to go in. There is, of course, Joe Gomez, but Joe Gomez is going to cost us what, 40 odd £million? Now, some may argue if we give them Kudus, we may get Gomez. Would you do that? Fuck no, not really. Gomez is a great centre back, and he can also play at right back as well. Would we be tempted in going down that road? I don't think so, and I hope not. But Gomez is a player, the sort of caliber of player that we would love to get in. How much of a chance do we stand to get him? I'm not so sure, to be quite honest with you. He's a superb player. But that's the caliber of player we're going for. And of course, because we can't offer European football, it'd be a lot harder to get players of that level in. So we've got to go for something alternative. I'd like to think that we could get someone like Jan Bisseck in. I think he's a young, dynamic, good centre back. But we'll see how it goes. There are various other centre backs, but these are the latest stories. And now the next story coming up, of course, is striker wise. Apparently, we're going to make a £25 million bid for Tammy Abraham. Now, we talked about Tammy Abraham at the beginning of the transfer window. I don't think it's going to happen, to be quite honest with you. Certainly not now that we've got Fullkrug. And I'm going to come to another player that reason why I don't think it's going to happen. He's made 119 appearances for Roma throughout his time there, 37 goals, 13 assists, but last season, 12 games, 1 goal. He missed almost the whole of last season from a really bad cruciate ligament injury. They're looking to move him on. And should we go in for that player? I'm not so sure that we should, because as some people have alluded to, I think we're going to make a very last minute deal to bring John Duran in on loan. I think it will be a loan with an obligation to buy. Now, I'm not so sure whether that will suit Aston Villa financially, but I think this is a very big possibility. But it won't happen. We might have to wait right until the end of the transfer window to get this over. But I think there's real interest in trying to bring this player to West Ham United. Many will say, well, hang on a minute. We've got a lot of players already up front. How are they all going to fit in? Well, bear with me, because I'm going to go on to who I think we might be losing moving on. Before I do, a few more of your comments so I can catch up. Tammy Abraham can play right back and centre back. Can he? It's the first I've heard about that. I'll make you right, though. Let's scroll down. Nick, I'm either bedbound or in a wheelchair. Can I replace Zouma? You might stand a better chance. Good evening to you, Ed. How are you? Victory v Lozenges. You're all at it. What's going on with you lot? It must be the heat. Montana. Mavropanos is such a strange player. His body language looks like he's not interested in the club at all. What is wrong with him? I don't know. He's finding it very difficult to get himself going, isn't he? It's strange. I'm going to hope for the fact that if he is the player that's going to get picked alongside Kilman, then maybe that might give him a little bit more assurity. It might calm him down a bit. Cut out the mistakes, etc. But I really don't know. But you're absolutely right. He doesn't look right, does he? Hammer Montana, I agree. He looks disinterested. Do you think with Kilman joining, possibly a Gerd staying, has knocked his confidence? It shouldn't do. It certainly shouldn't do, because if Lopetegui plays through at the back, you might see Mavropanos, Kilman, and a Gerd at the back. So I don't know. Good evening to you, David. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Michael, good evening to you, mate. Morning from Australia. Crap deal to sign the Hulk. Why not pay an extra 25 million for Duran? 10 years younger will likelihood to sell in a few years and make a profit. I get that. I hear that, Michael. But I think we need tried and tested players as well. And I think Fullkrug is going to surprise a lot of West Ham fans. And I think he's going to surprise the Premier League. Talking Hammers, good evening to you. I hope you're well. What a time to be a Hammer. Absolutely fantastic time to be a Hammer. Thank you for joining. Let's scroll down. Bolo, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Fullkrug has scored 13 goals in 25 internationals for good old Germany. That's not bad. And he was a late starter for Germany. He didn't start his international career until the age of 29. And, so he's a late bloomer. You get that, don't you? You get late bloomers, and maybe it's one that you just might. You do. There's players that surprise you that come good later on in their careers, and he's one of them. Ronnie, I spoke with Bubbles today. He's a good interview it was, and I will play it. Podcast done and done. Oh, okay. If I'd known, I would have invited you on. If you want to come on, if you want to come on, text me and I'll send you the link. Montana. If another centre-back joining makes him look shy, I would really be worried for the style of players Tim is signing us. Look, we did fair enough. Mavropanos, we said we credited Steidten for that, didn't we? But it just didn't work out. They're not all going to work, are they? They're not all going to work. Paul, I think the problem with Mavropanos is he's just absolutely shy. Paul, tell me what you think about Mavropanos, mate. But you know what? Sometimes you do have to turn around and go, you might be right there. Not that it's horrible to say it, but might be right there. But what a shame. What a shame. What else have we got here? Howard, how are you? I wouldn't pay 30 million for Tammy Wynette. No, I wouldn't pay that either. I don't think that's going to happen. Peter, Fullkrug will put his head in where other players don't. He's a striker version of Dawson. That's what we want. We love all that, don't we? We love players that get stuck in. If we start roughing up a few teams, then wouldn't that be nice? Roughing up a few teams and beating them. I love that. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got here? Bill, good evening to you. Oh, I've said good evening. Question. Divine Obama hasn't signed yet as yet that I've heard. Have you heard anything? Apparently Sunderland were apparently interested. This is what you get when you allow I feel sorry for him, but this is what you get when you allow your agent to take full control of your future. He was offered a contract. He could have stayed at West Ham United. He was being given bad advice, as have many other youngsters who were in the last few months of their contracts, and they decided that the grass was greener elsewhere. And unfortunately, I think he'll get a club, but God knows where he will, because if a championship team have yet to sign him, I worry for him. He might end up going to the League One. Look, you can still make a career in football in League One, and you can still prove everybody wrong. But he should have signed a deal. And under Lopetegui, what would he have learned under the likes of Lopetegui? What a shame. Mark. Gideon Cordova didn't do too badly, in my opinion, when experimenting at right wing back by Loppe. He didn't, but it's not his natural position. He plays more as a right winger or plays more centrally attacking as well. Talking Hammers. Alvarez and Guido Rodriguez played together. They did indeed for America, the team in Mexico, and what unbelievable partnership. You're absolutely correct. Two madmen in the middle of the park. I bet they have, I don't want to say a bet, but they were like, how many yellow cards do you think? Oh, God, I better not go down that road, but Paqueta style. But you know what I mean. They're probably wondering which one of them is going to be sent off first and stuff like that. Mr. McLaren, how are you? Jack and Ori, who's told you that story? What's going on here? Early doors. Who remembers I'm a storyteller and my stories must be told? No, maybe I'm too young for that. Jay Woods, Zouma, Ings, Cornet, Soucek all need to be sold. Massive wages for bench players. I'm going to come to them. Is Sean here? Where's Sean? Message me. You want to come on or not? Have you messaged me? No, he hasn't, so he doesn't want to come on. But if you do, message me. Epic, Wan-Bissaka doesn't want to come to West Ham. He's a mediocre player anyway. No, thank you. Well, what do you think of Wan-Bissaka? Should we be going for him? Is that what we want? Matt, Pack might be banned, so we could be screwed at the end of next season. Hamret, well, he can play. My understanding is that we may hear about his case come around about January is the latest that I understand that to be. Let's see what happens with that. We certainly got him for the first half of the season. Epic, a slow defender like Hummels can't play in a high block. He'd be useless for us. Good call. Fair play. That's a good comment. Ruben Bloch, Silva is still available on a free at centre back. Hammerite, good evening to you. What a difference what a difference when a coach actually works with the technical director. Sorry, but I want Soufal and Soucek to move on. Don't fit into the new midfield. Centre back partner Kilman and Agurd to step up. Kilman and Agurd. Who do you want as centre backs? As we have from the players that we have at the moment. Do you want Mavropanos and Kilman, or do you want Agurd and Kilman? Who thinks Stell should bring out merch? No. But, well, let's see. Let me talk to Mr. Whetstone. Good evening to you. Give them more than just a podcast a plug. We have just published our summer transfer special episode tonight. No. No, okay. People, if there's another thing you should subscribe to, it's more than just a podcast. You can go onto Sean's profile or Nigel's profile on Twitter and get the link to more than just a podcast. It's a good listen. Logan Costa is the player I was thinking of. Thank you for that, because I got his name completely wrong. Let's scroll down. Danny, tune in next week if you want to make donuts the same shape as Fanny's. You lot, really. Maltese Hammer, good evening to you. Michael, what exactly, mate? What is going on here? I mean, you give them a Monday show and they go absolutely nuts. Jay Woods, Sule for 10 million is a no-brainer for me. Young, pacey and very agile. But, mate, my question is he any better than what we've currently got? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Early doors. Still, this Tammy rumor has been flying around. It has. It was resurrected again earlier today, mate. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got? Hammerett, can you see him being able to get Villa's fans back on side? I think there is not a chance in hell. I agree with you. I think there's not a chance in hell. His future doesn't lie there. So let's see what happens. Gomez is rubbish. Just a brainless thug. Len, there is a reason Liverpool want rid of him. Good, fair play. I mean, he made the England squad, but, fair play. Don't we want a few thugs in our team, to... rough up the opposition. Huge. Good evening to you. What happened to us signing Chalobah from Chelsea? See, he's another player that I would absolutely go for, but that's all gone quiet as well. But he is definitely up for sale. Sharky, the country is falling apart still. We need to entertain ourselves and cheer each other, and you are doing just that. I don't want to go into politics. Been very upsetting over the weekend, really upsetting what's been happening, but let's move on. Trodge, Mav got all the tools apart from the brain. Let's scroll down. Shall I get on to Nigel? I think we've got 0 points from first 3 games. Been here before. Absolutely true. That's very true. Let's scroll down. Hammerite. We still need our defense and midfield sorted. I think our midfield will be sorted once Rodriguez comes in. I think we're done for midfield now. Good attacking players, good defensive midfielders as well. It is defense that we've got to focus on now. Nigel, Friday nights out, night still. Friday nights out, night still. I don't know what that means, but Friday night, if you're talking about the show, yes, we're doing them. We are doing them. When are you available? Ray, good evening to you. Mavropanos gets drawn out covering the right back. Seems he's indecisive when out of position. And that's why we need a strong right back. That's a good shout. Gaz, good evening to you. You also hit the post, had a disallowed goal in the Champions League final against Real Madrid. Is that Fullkrug or was that? Yes, it is Fullkrug you're talking about. Bill, Fullkrug will be off to Turkey after us to get those missing. You can afford them now. Turbo Gig, good evening to you. I've got a mixed kebab on the way. I don't, honestly, you lot have gone nuts tonight. Right, that's it. I'm going into talk about who I think is going to go. Best signings will be WBS. So many goals conceded. Summerville is so slow. Do you mean a WBS? Let's go into them. Right, first player. There's been a lot of talk about what's happening with Nifer Gerd. You know, throughout last season and over the last few days, or certainly since the season shut and over the summer transfer window, I should say, there's been talk about him going. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere, Nifer Gerd. You know, when you look at him in training in pre-season, he looks quite happy. He looks like he's quite settled. It could be what I've said before is under the Moyes system. That was quite, you know, some players just couldn't play that way. Now that we've got a high line, a completely different system, Nifer Gerd, did you see that challenge against Wolves? And then, of course, Zouma was half a mile behind and didn't cover his position when he tackled the player, and it went into the path of the other player who scored. But he's got great pace. He can play on the right side of central defence, even though he's left-footed. So you can play Kilman and a Gerd in the same lineup. And maybe, just maybe, it looks as if West Ham might keep him. Look, we've said if we're going to sell him, we want around 30 million for him. And forgive my misspelling again, but it might be, apparently any bid might be likely to be about 20. We've been waiting for the Atletico to Madrid to make an offer. Nothing has materialized. He's looking happy. Maybe the new system is helping him. And I think it won't be a Gerd that will be going. Now, a player that looks like he is on his way in one way or another is Kurt Zouma. Now, the rumor is that he's been told that he can find a new club. If he can't, West Ham might be looking at the potential of negotiating a payoff. £125,000 a week equates to something like £6.5 million a year, something like that. That money could be spent on wages for other players. Also, Zouma would leave a door open if he goes for another centre-back to come in. Now, we were told right at the beginning of when the transfer window opened that we will not be having any more than 4 centre-backs at the club. We've currently got 4 centre-backs at the club. I'm not including any of the youngsters like Kalen, Casey, etc. So it looks quite possible that if we need to open up a space and if we can't sell players, then it's looking likely that Kurt Zouma is going to be surplus to requirements. I did suggest maybe that he might be a player that might not even get a squad number, this coming season. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But my understanding is he's been told that he can leave. People quite rightly are asking. We've seen the photos of him or the videos of him walking around with ice packs on his knees. It's unfortunate. He's finished as a Premier League centre-back, or certainly for West Ham United, who are aiming high. Could anybody buy him? I don't know, is the honest answer. I'm not sure anyone would want to run the risk. His best option, quite possibly, is if he goes either to America, the MLS, or if he goes to the Saudi League. He might just do all right there, and he'll get decent money there as well. But when it comes to another Premier League club coming in for him, I don't think it's going to work. I doubt very much any championship team will look at him as well. Maybe for his experience, but that might just be about it. But on £125,000 a week, no team is going to be able to afford that. The other alternative would be that if a club shows interest in him, but turns around and says, we can't afford his 125 grand a week wages, we might do what we were trying to do with Danny Ings earlier in the transfer window and go, no problem, we'll subsidize some of his wages. I can see us doing that. Maybe, a team might be able to offer, I don't know, 50 grand a week or 40 grand a week. We might end up subsidizing the rest of his wages for him to leave the club. Now people are going to go, oh my God, what a waste of money, etc. But it will open the door up for another centre back to come in. Look, Kurt Zouma. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. When we signed Kurt Zouma, what was it, 3 odd years ago? I think it was around about that time. At the time, we were looking at either Milenkovic from Fiorentina, who's now gone to, can't remember which club has signed him in the Premier League. I'm going to say Nottingham Forest. I might be wrong. But we were looking at Milenkovic and we were looking at Zouma. And I just remember doing shows about both players and comparing them and saying Milenkovic was several years younger. He's had a clean bill of health in terms of injuries. Hardly ever got injured, the player. You know, young, tough, decent centre back, or Kurt Zouma. And I remember going through Kurt Zouma's figures and saying injury after injury after injury. And I was like, I don't think he might not get a whole season. We might not get a whole season out of him. And I don't think in the time that he's been with us, we've gotten a whole season out of him. And it's such a shame. I think a lot of us saw it coming. You know, Kurt Zouma, we could have signed Milenkovic for about 15 mil. Instead of signing Kurt Zouma for, what was it, 28, 29 mil. It was a bit of a no-brainer, but Moyes wanted him. Moyes got him, you know, and he has had some solid games for us. But in terms of consistency, it just hasn't happened. And I think, unfortunately, Kurt Zouma is surplus to requirements. He is going to be leaving West Ham in one way or another. If a club can come in for him, we might have to look at subsidizing his salary. If a club doesn't come in for him, it looks like we might be negotiating a payoff to let him go. Shame. It's a shame for a player's career or career at a particular club to end that way. Next up, now I just spoke about us potentially getting in John Duran, possibly on a loan to obligation to buy. I think that's still on the cards. And if it is, with Fullkrug coming in, what happens to Michail Antonio? We've also known Michail Antonio has wanted to have a final big payoff, his last big contract in his career. He got a bit of a pay rise last season. I think he's now on about 90, 100 grand a week, plus bonuses, etc. But he's made it quite clear in the interview that he recently held on the club website that he is the number 9. He hasn't got the number 9 shirt just for no reason. He is willing to fight for his place in the starting lineup. And we also know he was deeply unhappy when we signed Gianluca Scamacca, and I wish him well. He's picked up an ACL. He's out for about 6 or 7 months. I hope he recovers well. But when we signed Scamacca, you could see Antonio was pissed off with that. He was really deeply unhappy. I think Fullkrug is likely to become our starter up front. I really do. It's possible that Lopetegui might rotate them. I'm not so sure about that, but it's possible. But I think if we do go for John Duran as another striker, then I think we might be seeing Michail Antonio bidding farewell to West Ham United as well. He could go to the MLS. There's been rumours about Saudi teams being interested in him. 34 years of age. He wants one more big payoff, and he'll get that at one of those leagues. And then, of course, it was a toss-up for me between James Ward-Prowse or Thomas Souček, and I've gone with Souček in terms of another player leaving West Ham, potentially leaving West Ham United this summer. There's an awful lot of competition, especially with Rodriguez coming in now. I'm not so sure how much game time Thomas Souček will get. He was Moyes' main man, wasn't he? He played almost every game. And the irony of it over the last couple of seasons was when Moyes did drop him, we lost games, which meant that Moyes brought him straight back to into the next game. I don't think he'll be. It's a real toss-up between him and Ward-Prowse. I think Ward-Prowse is possibly likely to get more game time than Souček next season. And even Ward-Prowse is not likely to get a lot of starts. So I don't think Lopetegui will afford Souček the same grace as Moyes did. I could, again, what do I know? I could be completely wrong, but my gut says that if there's a square peg in a round hole, or a round peg in a square hole, whatever way it is, it's Souček. He doesn't seem to fit into the Lopetegui type of system that we want to play. Now, I know there's apparent interest from Fenerbahce. I don't know how sincere that interest is. So let's see. Let's see what happens there. Right, I'm going to go into your comments again. And what I want is any more Q. If you want a question, put a Q at the start so I can pick it out. I've got over 500 people watching and I'm absolutely flattered. Thank you for that. So I'm going to say for one last time, if you have yet to subscribe, please do subscribe to the channel. Free to subscribe, free content all the way through. So please do become a subscriber. If you like the content, what you've heard, what you've seen so far, please do hit that like button as well. Let's scroll down. There's a decent player in Mavropanos. Pity he's had a baptism of fire in the dinosaurs shit show. Could it have been because he's not had a decent centre back alongside him? It's possible. You know, having to cover for Zouma couldn't have been easy because Agerd was unavailable for most of the second half of the season. Peter. Mubama turned into a Billy Big Bollocks and believed he was better than he is. I don't blame the player. I blame the agent, to be honest with you. I really do. And when you're 18 years old and you're trying to be given the best advice, that's why you've got an agent to give you good advice. I'm not so sure some of the agents that have managed are 18-year-olds when they've been in the last years of their contracts at West Ham have been well managed. Various ones, I can't remember all their names, but we've had quite a few who have left at the tail end of their contracts, and they've gone on to do nothing. It's a real shame. Platinum Finger Butch Cassidy, good evening to you. All of the poor passes of the ball, Mavropanos sticks out like a beacon. That's a good point. His passing was pretty poor, to be quite honest with you. You're absolutely correct there. You know, sort of unnecessary errors being made by some of these players. Howard, I can do you some wooden bowls and dildos if you want to do some merch still. Hit me up. I'll take a pass on that, mate. Stephen, Aguero wants out. Agüero wants out of Barcelona. Apparently, cheeky loan to buy. I don't know. What would he cost, for goodness sake? Espen, good evening to you, mate. I hope you excuse me for a second. Espen, good evening to you. Of the centre backs we have right now, I'd play Kilman and Agerd. It might be them. It might be them. Talking Hammers, quiz time. No Googling. Nicclas Fullkrug is the fourth German to play for the Hammers. Who are the other three? I saw that question earlier and I couldn't remember any one of them. Ray Greenfinger, good evening to you. Sole, don't need a walker to get around the pitch. What about the IFCCB SEP? I've got the Liverpool centre back Sepp. My Sepp Blatter, the Liverpool centre back Gomez. Well, some people are saying he's no good. I don't know. But I think it cost us too much money. To be quite honest with you, I don't think we'll have the money to pay for him. Thank you again, Nick. Thank you for a second. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Let's scroll down because now everyone's talking about old TV programs, and I'm not going to get involved in that. Lee, Tammy Pond is injury prone. Tammy is injury prone, and he said he doesn't want to come to the Hammers. I don't think we're going to buy him or look to buy him anyway, to be quite honest with you. Let's scroll down. Hard Corpse, good evening to you. Agerd, miles better than Zouma, so it's looking like you'd prefer Agerd to line up alongside for the current squad that we have alongside Kilman. I know everyone saw. Did you see the goal that who was it? Crystal Palace when they scored, and that player tipped it round Kilman. I thought of all the players to do that to, you did it to our £40 million signing. I giggled. Not for long, but I giggled. Andrew, Kenny Everett, you're talking about programs. You crack on, people. You crack on. Unfortunately, on Zouma, take a loss. I think that's the way it's going, to be quite honest with you. Steve, Zouma for the glue factory. What a shame. Trodge, but Zouma with knees is the level we need. Zouma with knees, absolutely, mate. If Zouma's knees were fully functioning, he would absolutely be the level we need. Totally agree. Cockney, I'm 48, overweight. I've got a better chance of passing the medical more than Zouma. Do feel for him, though. You know what? I mean, he's battered, isn't he? He's a battered player. Excuse me. Andrew, for the love of God, if I see Souček and JWP playing in midfield, I think I'll just go home. You might, if they stay, see that in a cup competition. Blame David Moyes for this signing. It could be pronounced Fullkrug, but I don't want to pronounce it as Fullkrug because I'll probably get it wrong because I mispronounce everybody's names. Peter, no one else wanted Zouma, and we paid 30 million. I know. Sean, just pay Zouma off. It'll take 25-30% off his full contract, 2 million max. Well, no, a bit wrong there, mate, because if he's earning 125 grand, I'm going to work it out, 125 grand a week, 125 times 52 weeks, 6.5 mil. I was right. So even if you take 30% off that, take 2 mil off, and still pay him off 4 mil, 4.5 mil. Might happen. It might happen. Keith, our local cattery are looking for a living night staff. Zouma applying. Trod, Zouma did well tricking our medical staff. Do you know what? They, now I remember the story. They actually found problems. Moyes pushed it through. But there you go. He wanted him and he got him. Peter, Zouma is finding out what he deserves. Zouma was good for a couple of seasons, to be fair. Do you remember sending off Weetabix tokens to music cassettes? Unfortunately, hard corpse. I don't think we'll be able to get Duran now that Fullkrug's here. I'm not sure. I just said, you may have watched it. If we do go for Duran, it could be that one of our strikers is leaving. Danny Ings, we were accepting a deal from Southampton for Danny Ings, and we were going to subsidise his wages, but it didn't happen. Ings didn't want to leave. So I think if we do go for Duran, that's looking like we would lose Antonio. Hammerette, Duran didn't want to be second fiddle to Watkins. He could have 2, possibly 3 strikers to compete with. If he came to us, he must be fuming, to be honest. He will be, if we get him, he will be in competition with Fullkrug. And I think he'll stand his chances of getting more game time. Obsidian, no one is buying Zouma. We should move him to coaching staff. Let him see out his contract, helping the kids improve. At least we'll get a little value for his wages. 125 grand a week for a coach. That's a good point, though. It's a good point about, moving him upstairs, so to speak. Sean, Mickey's Antonio dream since he was a kid was to one day play alongside Messi at Inter Miami in the MLS. He might get his wish come true. You never know. Hamret, Obsidian, imagine Zouma showing the youth what he does on that. Well, no, actually, I get that. I think it could be, could be an interesting move, but it won't happen. He's on too higher wages. Won't happen. Andrew, I think Antonio is the best impact sub in the league. If used that way, I do totally agree. But I really don't think he's going to be happy to be an impact sub. Espen, Souček is too nice. Espen, really nice. I really think it's time for Souček to go. Souček is too nice. He's not got that grit, has he? Souček, Sean, will never be the same since Moyes allowed Rice his ego to run riot. It's a good point. Kim Joe, I want the Austrian defender from Lens. You're going to have to remind me of his name because I can't remember. I know I did a show about it and I included him in the show the other day, actually. Have I still got his slide? Let's see if I've got it. Would it be that one? Would it be that one? No, I don't know. You're going to have to give me his name, mate. Sad to see Souček go, as our upturn in form was when he arrived. That's a really good point, Trudge. He's got to be given where credit's due because he was one of our mainstays. He was one of our best players, him and Bowen, when Moyes brought them both in that year when we were fighting relegation, and Souček was superb at the time. I totally agree. Early doors. Do you think Loppy will go with a lone striker, play 2 up top? No. I do know. Or play 2 up top. No, he's going to change it. He's already said it. He's going to change it according to need. His preference is a 4-3-3. He's been playing out in America a 3-4-3. I think he will change it according to need. I think there'll be times when you might see a 4-2-3-1 formation. I think there are going to be times when you're going to see a 4-3-3 formation, a 3-4-3 formation, 3-5-2 even. But he's not going to keep it to the one thing. So this is where, if we do get Duran in, or, if Antonio stays alongside Fullkrug, you might even see 2 strikers on the pitch at certain times, but certainly won't do that on a regular basis. Hardcore. What are the chances of signing Duran? I really want him to come, but I'm skeptical now that we've signed Fullkrug. I hope you heard my answers, mate. I think if we go for Duran, it'll be a late bid. But it all depends on Aston Villa's finances. If Aston Villa think it's a good deal for them, then they'll do it. With an obligation to buy. Will you be bringing out some merch, Shaky? I've never thought of it, to be honest with you. I'll think about it. Do you think West Ham Massive, Kilman and Agurd can work as a partnership despite being 2 lefties? Yes, I do, ironically. Like I said earlier in the show, Agurd has played left side of centre-back for Morocco on several occasions, so he's accustomed to that role. And I think quite possibly it could definitely work. Andrew, will Lopetegui come under pressure this season if we start badly? No, I don't think he would. I don't think it will be like that. I think we know it's a transitional season. I think we know that there's a good chance that it could take a bit of time. So no, I think if we start badly, of course, if we get to the halfway through the season and we're fighting relegation, that might be a different question to answer. But I don't think we're going to start that badly. I don't think we're going to be, famous last words. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near the relegation zone. But if we're languishing in mid-table, just under mid-table, no, I don't think he's going to be under pressure. Because he's only got a 2-year contract as well, by the way. Terence, good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Scott. How are you? We need Chalobah beside him. Chalobah, it's interesting because it's all gone quiet there. So I wonder if there's something in the pipeline for him. Mark, say a decent bid came in for Areola. Highly unlikely. Would you take De Gea, who's a free agent right now, to jump right in and be the new number 1? Apparently, Saudi teams are interested in Areola. That's a story that came out about a week ago. I used to like De Gea a lot. Possibly. What is he now, though? He's 35, De Gea, something like that. Peter, did you ever look up your lookalike, Derek Geiler, the caretaker for police on the web? I did, and I look absolutely nothing like him. Montana, Toha, do 2 less make a right massive? No. Our striker depth department has a combined age of 3 years shy of 100. I'm fully aware of that, mate. I really am. HTRN, good evening to you. A centre-back, a right-back, and to sell some players, and I think we're all set. Absolutely, totally agree with you. Question, Peter. Did you see Dorothy Perkins is back at Leyton Orient? Perkins, yeah, I did. He was one of the players. Took bad advice from his agent, Sonny Perkins. Matt, do you think people are looking into Ward-Prowse and Souček starting in pre-season too much? Who else has Lobby got to play with half our midfield away? Exactly, mate. No, I think they are reading too much into it. Rodriguez, for me, whilst Alvarez is getting back to fitness, Rodriguez will walk into that starting lineup. I'm pretty damn certain of that. And then we got Paqueta as well. And then we got Kudus, who's going to play a bit more centrally as well. So, yes, I think people are reading too much into it. I'm not going to say what Souček makes you, Andrew. I'm going to skip past that completely. West Ham Massive. Savio, was he German? Hitzelsberger, yes. Kehrer, of course, Kehrer. And technically Lomas. Kehrer, of course, Savio. Oh, I don't know. Trudge, what did Stell do to the West Ham badge? What West Ham badge? Where? Which one are you talking about? That's not a West Ham badge. That's a Trojan badge, if that's what you're referring to. Montana. I'm amazed at how difficult Souček finds it to pass the ball. It's astonishing for a professional player. Uh, he's got a different style of play, and passing is not one of them. Hammerit. Souček saying he wants to show everyone he's much better on the ball, like he is for the Czech Republic. Well, let's see. Vape Dad, good evening to you. First hello from Tennessee in the States. If not a Gerd, who is on our radar for centre-back? Welcome to you, mate. If not a Gerd, who's on the radar for centre-back? Well, I mentioned Chalobah before. Apparently, Mats Hummels, but people are saying that's not going to happen. Jan Bisseck is the latest player to also be rumoured to be linked to us. And I'm still waiting. Logan Costa was another one, but I don't think he's good enough. Sole from Salzburg, I think is another one. But again, I don't think he's any better than what we've got, to be quite honest with you. Trudge. Souček lays off the ball, jogs forward, offering no options for the person he gives it to. CC, I once sat next to David Essex at the bowling in the 70s. Big West Ham fan, wasn't he? Let's scroll down. What else have we got? Vape, I'm absolutely stoked for this season. 17th, the 17th can't come soon enough. Peter, Duran will sulk and go on strike to push a deal through. I wonder, I said last week, do the old traditional thing. Put in a transfer request. That's what players used to do. Finn, still, would you rather have Zouma's knees or Sullivan's? So long as I don't have to do anything to Sullivan's face, I'd say Sullivan's face. But I don't think that's what you mean, Finn, is it? Steve Pollard. Zouma should do himself and the club a favour and step down for money, which is what I said earlier on. I think it's quite possible if he doesn't find a club, we may agree a payoff. Obsidian, I hated. Oh, we're on to that again. What is wrong with you? Are you lot on crack or something tonight? Neil. Can't the club send Zouma for a medical? If he fails, the club can claim on their insurance and then cancel his contract or pay him off. Too late for that, unfortunately. Ollie, good evening to you. How close actually are we to signing Wan-Bissaka? Sorry. Well, I talked about him earlier on, and we've got to stop playing silly buggers. I think it's close. Look, and I asked the question, how long do we wait? I think, as I said earlier in the show, if we don't sign him by the end of this week, I think we need to move on. It's all about the fee. It's all about Man United want to cover their asses and not pay any more for him. I get it. I think we do try and do the same as well. Kevin Danzo's the other player I was thinking of. Thank you, Kim Joe. Much appreciated. And I think Kevin Danzo, of all the players, all the centre-backs that we're linked to at the moment, Logan Costa and various others, etc. I think Danzo's probably the better one, but I think we really want Todibo. And I think let me take that off for a second because I wanted to talk a bit more about Todibo. I think what we're waiting for. Todibo wants to go to Juve. Juve can offer Champions League football, whatever it is, for European football, etc. But they can't afford him, even though they've apparently tried to match our bid of loan with obligation to buy. They can't demonstrate that they've got the money in order to convince Nice that they can do that deal. I think we're playing the waiting game. I think Juventus are going to turn around and go, we ain't got the money. We can't afford to do this. We'd rather do another deal. Where Nice are going to go, sod you. West Ham United are offered exactly the deal that we want. Loan with a £35 million obligation to buy. It'll be something like, I don't know, a £7-8 million loan deal, and the rest will be paid as an obligation at the next summer. I think we're playing the long waiting game because it looks like Juve just can't get that deal over the line. And if they can't, that's who we'll go for. We'll go back in for Todibo. Anyone that comes remotely close, Kim, is Kevin Danzo. The others, Logan Costa and all the others, Sole, etc., I just don't think will come close to the quality that Todibo can offer. Martin, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Late join. It's bank holiday here, so felt like a Sunday today. I like the Fullkrug and Summerville signings. Summerville. We're not signing Colin Summerville. Personally, but I don't think I don't know how everyone else feels about them. I think people are cock a hoop, to be honest with you. Trodge Danso looks like a beast, but looked in charge of distribution at the back. He's a decent player, but I don't think he's at the level of Todibo. Montana. Anyone know how much we have already spent to this moment? Still need 2 centre backs, a centre midfielder, and a striker. Centre midfield, I think we're covered. When we get Rodriguez in, that's it. Striker, at this moment in time, we're covered. So we won't be getting another striker in unless something happens, like I said, with Duran. Absolutely agree. We need one centre back, not 2, and a right back is what we need. Let's scroll down. Southside Hammer. Good evening to you, mate. I hope you're well. Hey, Stella. What about our English player quota? It's all gone quiet. If we sign Wan-Bissaka, we've got our 8. And let's count them, shall we? We're going to have Fotheringham. Creswell, that's 2. We'll have Wan-Bissaka, that's 3. Kilman is 4. Bowen is 5. Ward-Prowse is 6. Ings is 7. Antonio is 8. So as it stands at this moment, if we sign Wan-Bissaka, we'll have our 8 homegrown players. We'll see what happens there. Sean, Ings and Antonio would need to leave for Duran to come in. Exactly that. Completely agree. Vape, big change-ups in the lineup. I would be surprised if we didn't start with a tumble or 2. We may do. And maybe the tumbles have been in pre-season. And let's hope that's where they stay. Peter, De Gea is 33. Yeah. Yeah. I still like Areola to stay, though. Still, do you ever watch any of the food challenge channels like Beard Meets Food? No, I don't. I did say any questions. I guess I should have said any football questions, but there you go. George, the Serbians and the Croatians and Slovakians all those countries seem to have some decent defenders. They've got some tough nuts, haven't they? Terence, question for Stel. Soufal and Soucek need to be sold. Get them out. Get them 2 out. That wasn't really a question, Terence, was it? That was more a demand. That was more a demand. Sonny Perkins. Not Sammy Perkins. I didn't say Sammy. I said Sonny. Stu, what different strokes the program? Oh, no, stop it, people. Man, Sonny Perkins wasn't good enough. Nothing to do with his agent. He got him a move to a top championship club, and then they were Premier League at the time. Delton, good evening, mate. Losing pre-season may be a blessing in disguise. I hold nothing on pre-season. Well, most of our players were missing. Let's not worry about it. It's what happens in the league that counts. Let's see. Howard, just noticed that Stel, that biggest mic I've ever seen. Are we compensating? Well, let me show you how big it is. Look, that's how small it is. But because I want it away from me, it looks, when I want it away from me, so I'm not shouting into it, it looks enormous. CC, we had a German right back who played for us, can't think of his name, Kehrer. Got that one right. Epic, the latest rumor is that we're after Monaco's left back, Chao Henrique. I don't know if you're winding me up because I've not heard the name, so I can't really say whether you're winding me up or not. You probably are. I'm going to look up Chao Henrique as soon as the show is over. Let's scroll down. Delton, we need an aggressive centre-half who knows how to defend, try the championship. That we were linked to quite a lot of them early in the transfer window. None of those materialised. Darren, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Our Holy Trinity are now a fantastic 4. And more to come. Obsidian. In fairness to Soucek, I doubt Moyes had him practicing passing for 4 years. He's bound to be a bit rusty. Terence, question. Is this a question or is this a demand? Still, Amanda Staveley has 500 million. Do you think she will buy the 25% shares? Sean, you're in the chat. Yes or no? I think yes. I think she will buy a share of ownership at West Ham. As much as 25%, that bit I don't know. But certainly we're looking for a new, we're looking for investments. Staveley apparently has been mentioned quite a few times. Sean, can you shed any light on that? Kim, Juve can't compete with West Ham. We're much bigger than them. We would destroy them in a football match. I hope you're right. Espen, when we play them in the Champions League next season, let's see what happens. Espen, Savio Nesareko was born in Uganda, moved to Germany, young, represented Germany at youth level. Thank you. You know what? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Sean, nice. Nice have already rejected a bid from Juve. Juve will not be willing to use a striker who Nice actually want in a swap. What about, should we give them Antonio for should we give them Antonio for Todibo? I'll tell you what, Antonio and Zouma for Todibo. I'll tell you what, Antonio, Ings and Zouma for Todibo. Or how about Antonio, Cornet, Ings and Zouma for Todibo? Do you think they'll buy that? Delton, stop wasting time talking about Zouma. We bought him and he played his part, even with the pain. I think we'll have to use him this season because Mav is an uncertain player. I really, honestly don't think we will, Delton. I think he's gone. I think he is going to leave the club in one way or another, to be honest with you. Look, what else we got? Let's scroll down. When Summerville plays, we can sing past the Dutchman on the left-hand side. Very good, very good. Delton, let's concern with what we have. That's what Lopo is doing. Absolutely. We signed Guy Demel from a German club, but he wasn't German. I liked Guy Demel. Let's scroll down. You're good. Yeah. I went to a nightclub, played sit down, sat down. They played jump around. The last game, Andrew, at the bowling, West Ham fans chant "use Spanish" to get De Gea when we went 2-1 up after goaded us when they took the lead. Yes, I remember that. I remember that. But let bygones be bygones. Can you fit that mic in around you? I'm not even going to try, Peter. Why would I want to do such a thing? Really? On a live show? Badger. We let in all those goals last season because we had no midfield. If we had the best defense in the world, we would still have conceded goals as teams. Just run at our crappy low block. Good point. Good point. You know, would Mavropanos be better with a more secure midfield in front of him? Quite possibly. That's a really good point. Obsidian. Bullseye must have been Sullivan's favourite show. He buys tat, but tells us the class he tried to get. Come on. Sean, Amanda Staveley is doubtful. I made it up on a slow news day. You dick. Did you? There you go. There's your answer to that one. Amanda Staveley is not coming to West Ham United. Did you really make that up? Oh, Sean. Well, I'm going to leave you on that bombshell. Davina, if Staveley did come on board, I could see a cat fight with Karen Brady. That would be interesting. Sean's wet dream. Seeing Karen Brady in a cat fight. My video started at 6:16 Tuesday morning here in Oz. God knows what time it is now. I've lost count. We've done an hour and 42. Ben, late to the show. Any news on Wan-Bissaka? Let me do you a full rundown of everything, and then I'll bid you farewell for the evening. We all know we've got a fantastic player in. Crysencio Summerville signed at the weekend for 25 million plus add-ons. Nicclas Fullkrug was confirmed today, 22 mil plus add-ons. Guido Rodriguez will be announced tomorrow. Free transfer. He's valued at about 20 million if he was on the market. Players that might be leaving. Nyfegerd, no bids from any clubs. We thought, we want to get 30 million for him. We don't think clubs are going to bid any more than 20, but even 20 million hasn't come in, so he could be staying. But I do think Kurt Zouma's days are numbered. It's been rumoured that he's been told that if he can find another club, he can go. Otherwise, there could be a negotiation to buy him out of his contract. Sean, can you confirm that at least? Will we be buying him out of his contract, or is that not for public knowledge? Let me know, Sean. What else have we got here? And Mikel Antonio, if we do go in for a late bid, a loan to buy, obligation to buy for Duran, I think that might be, we might be seeing Mikel Antonio leaving the club as well. And Thomas Soucek is rumoured to have an interest from Turkish club Fenerbahce, but I'm not too sure about that either. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Man United apparently lowered their bid, then upped their bid to 18 million. We believe the reason for that is because they want to give, he's asked for a golden handshake and they want to use that 2 or 3 million more in order to give that to him. Mats Hummels, I've been told, is not really loose lips sink ships. You're in good company. There's only 400 of us watching now, so you can tell us. We'll keep it a secret. Any news on it, Sean? Come on, mate. Tell us. You know that. I know but you're just not telling me. Matt Hummels, we don't think he's a player that we're really going to be going for. Jan Bisseck is another player. We'd love to get him. Great young talent at Inter Milan, valued at around 25 million. Possibility, but I'm not sure that in itself could come off. Tammy Abrahams, that's been resurrected, but we don't believe that bid is really real. And John Duran, I still think, and a lot of us do think, that we could possibly look at a late loan with obligation to buy, but it might be right at the end of the transfer window. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you all very much for your comments. I'm losing my voice. It's been an hour and 45. Really appreciate you watching. Really appreciate the interaction. And I'll say for the last time, for those of you that are still watching, if you've yet to subscribe, please do subscribe to the channel. It's free to subscribe, free content. I mean, you get so much content. Why would you want to go anywhere else? And please hit the like button because it helps the algorithms with the channel and all that sort of stuff. Really appreciate it. Gary, we're going to see you soon, mate. It's all been sorted. You've seen my message. See you soon. Thank you all for watching. Really much appreciated. Have a great week. I'll be back. I'm going to put up the show that I did with Paul Colburn. I'll put that up as a separate show. That'll probably come out Tuesday morning. So do look out for that. Have a wonderful week. See you all very soon. And have a great day. Have a great week. Sorry.